Welcome, everyone. I forgot to update Twitter. To another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, as always, Chad Porto, and joining me is the glorious one, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
What's going on, everybody?
The
Uh,
Packers are really about to go to three and two. They're really
yeah,
about to go to 3-2 because the Raiders are terrible. Josh McDaniels is a terrible coach.
not as yeah. It's a lot of interesting yet disappointing narratives going on in this particular NFL season, whether it be uh, the players or the people who's supposed to be guiding the players. Because that slaughter that happened last night, sheesh.
Oh, the Cowboys game.
Yeah, that dog walking.
It was. I,
Like,
I, I almost called the cops. It was that
like
bad.
there have been some absolute. Oh, somebody playing Madden and somebody left the control of type games this season. Like it's like, yo,
And the funniest part is now the Browns may be without their brand new, I shouldn't say brand new, but without their claimed bad touch quarterback because his shoulder's still jacked up. And even though he's cleared to play, he doesn't want it, so he's probably not gonna. And I'm just sitting there going, ha. I'm not bitter or anything. That being said, the Buccaneers are what 3-1 right now. That's pretty cool. I dig that. The 49ers are undefeated. I dig that. So
yeah,
it's interesting. I like watching what's his name, Richardson out of Indianapolis, the new rookie quarterback they got. He's pretty fun to watch.
yeah. I'm keeping an eye always, hard root for the Saints, but I like what's going on. Like you said, San Francisco, and some good stuff coming out of Philly. So yeah,
South stuff. So speaking of South stuff, I have the wrong photo up. Oh, wrong mouse. There we go. Let's talk a little Impact Wrestlino because Bound for Glory is coming up. I don't know if you saw this week's show. It was a solid show. Tasha Steelz took on Killer Kelly. I really like what they're doing with the build up to Tasha and Deanna versus MK Ultra.
mm-hmm.
Apparently, Deanna and Tasha are longtime friends and even trained in NXT together, or maybe it was their indies that they were training together. And I never knew that. So that adds another layer to this. Definitely a fan of it. Definitely liking where they're going. This is almost as exciting for me as the return to Danhausen on AEW television, who released a brand new vignette of his return singing London Bridge is Falling Down. But it's very, very, very nice, very nice, very nice, very, very nice, very... Loved it. It's great. That being said, this was a solid opener this weekend. I think they're doing a decent job building up the Knockout Tag Team division, although I am worried that this is Deanna Purrazzo's last hurrah. And if that's the case, not only do I expect them to lose, but now you have to build up a new tag team as well. And with Savannah Evans and Giselle Shaw facing off with the Death Dolls currently in a feud. And frankly, I don't think either team is good enough to knock off MK Ultra. So I don't know what they're going to do with the Knockout Tag Team division if they lose Purrazzo. So I'm hoping they don't because they have a good division, but they are one or two injuries and or departures away from having a very thin division. So
Yeah.
hopefully that
And
doesn't happen.
I was just thinking about that. 'Cause you're talking about Deanna potential for departure, and I hope they don't do a thing because Tasha's had a hell of a comeback. And I hope she don't get yo-yoed around on the partner side of the game like we've seen in WWE, like what they've done with my girl Liv. She's made all the teams work, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see the whole if Deanna had to be moved out and they kind of tried to do like an enemies to partners thing. But I don't think Mickey's gonna beat Trent personally. Um, but if they did an enemies to partners thing and teamed up Steels with Jane for a potential tag team, that could maybe beat MK Ultra because, like you said, to your point, I don't think her and Deanna can beat them. And I definitely give them the edge far more over uh, Giselle
Savannah.
and Savannah. Yeah,
I'm interested to see how this plays out. I don't think Mickey's going to beat Trin either. Only if Mickey. The only reason I think see Mickey winning is if Trinity is leaving, because I think her contract's up sometime around Bound for Glory, but I could be wrong. And that wouldn't surprise me at all. Impact has this terrible habit of putting belts on people who aren't under long-term contracts as almost a ploy to get them to stay. So like,
yeah. We talked about that. You need to be Impact needs to be more intentional about intentionally dating people
yeah,
for long term relationship type things. But again, the only other way I can see her beating Trent is if, and hopefully we see Trent extend her time there. That's what I'm hoping for. But could you see it going in a way, because obviously Mickey's getting this shot because really she never actually lost the title, but obviously we talked about how people are in different tiers, and obviously I feel like there's levels between her and Trent. Could you see this being an opportunity for them to turn Mickey back heel?
mm, that's a good idea. I don't know. Because like once you've gotten a person to a certain level, it's always hard to turn them one way or another. And I wonder if we're at the point with with Mickey, where anyone would really care that she turned heel. I don't know if Trinity's so popular that turning Mickey heel wouldn't be something the fans would like to see, if that makes sense. Like, would turning Mickey heel sabotage Trinity's face run? Kind of like when they turned Becky heel the first time, I think is when it was, when she got punched in the face because Nia Jax doesn't know how to work, and then she gave Mickey a nose period. Like, is that what's going to happen? I don't know. So I don't know if you risk turning Mickey heel if the long goal is to have Trinity have an impressive run, because you don't want to risk turning the crowd against Trinity. I think the best thing to do is have Trinity go over, assuming she's under contract for another year. Have Trinity go over on Mickey. Have Mickey and Trinity show each other respect. Mickey gives her the ring, raises her hand, gives her the ring, and then call it a night. I think that's the best way to go if the idea is to promote and continue to push Trinity as one of the top attractions of the company. If that's not the way to go, maybe. I think a heel Mickey would be very interesting, especially against a chasing Jordan. I think that could work long term. But I don't think you take the belt off of Trinity unless she's leaving. And if she's leaving, you got to turn focus to Jordan, because apparently she is under contract for a little while. Maybe 6 months, maybe a year. We don't really know. The one person we do know who is under contract, at least for now, is John Gresham. They're really building up this feud with Speedball, and I think Gresham may be the reason why Speedball loses at Bound for Glory. I hope they don't do any shenanigans with that, because Ospreay versus Speedball is going to be fantastic, and apparently this is like their 4th or 5th time meeting, so they should have a really good match, knowing each other as well as they do. But they did a promo on Impact. Gresham basically said, I'm going to do what I want, and Bayley wasn't too happy about that. Are you mad that this feud is going on as long as it has? I shouldn't say mad. Do you think the feud has gone on longer than it should have?
It's getting a little longer than 2, but they are trying to. I think they're aware of this, and I don't know if this was always the idea, but obviously, I think Gresham did a bit of skullduggery to get a win last week, which got addressed here. So, because I think it's just gonna be one of them things where it's gonna get to the point, because I don't know how believable and I don't know how you feel about it, but I don't know how believable it is making Mike Bailey a heel. But it might actually work for somebody like Gresham with his particular style.
Mm-hmm.
Maiming people, breaking their arms, snapping their fingers, and that such. And the goal. I mean, the last time he was elsewhere, he was the champ. He was the main champ. So In a lot of ways, if he came to Impact to do that, in a lot of ways, Bailey has kind of stalled him out and kind of been in his way, whether it be, constantly being the guy he's had to face off with, or sidelining to potential tag team goals or whatnot. It's sidetracking from the main goal, which is that title. So if he if they turn Gresham here, I think that could be something very interesting going forward because that could give him a straight line to the world title and elevate those matches. Like I said, I think and we big champions of Gresham. There's nothing out. You put him in a situation. I think let him fly, and you're gonna take off. But you kind of got to get him over this hill. Even with as good as these two guys are, it's getting a little long in the tooth. It just is. We talked about kind of doing one final thing, separating them, and maybe rounding them back to each other with them having individual success on their own and kind of meet back. But you know, if they could work out a way to get Gresham to potentially go heel, and then him going after guys and kind of being like Impact's version of what Pentagon was in Lucha, that'd be something to see.
I could see that. Now, when it comes to one of the best feuds going right now, I didn't expect it to be Crazy Steve and Tommy Dreamer. Dreamer came out, cut this really impassionate promo, and talked up about how incredible Steve is, despite being legally blind. Not completely blind. There is a difference. He can see, but he just can't see well. But they have this really great, talk, and Dreamer puts him over, and then they embrace, and then Steve stabs Tommy Dreamer literally in the back with a fork. And the most disappointing news that I've gotten so far this week is that this Digital Media Championship match won't happen on Impact. Apparently, it'll happen on the tapings after Impact, which is disappointing, and I'm mad, and I hate it, and blah. Marcus, Steven Dreamer, are you getting invested in this storyline?
I've been invested since we, saw the potential for when, the briefcase got revealed for the Digital Media Championship. Because obviously, I think, both of us has gotten more into the Digital Media Championship scene of it all, thanks to Noah, of course, thanks to Joe Hendry in that regard. But, even somebody like my boy Kenny King kind of came in and kicked up a little momentum with that, and then, you know, that momentum building for the title along with us seeing this new elevated, more far more violent version of Steve, I think is a great combustible situation waiting to happen. And I think Dreamer is a good jumping off point in terms of like his ability to invoke emotion in anything that he does. Like he was the best part of the feud with Bully. And that's just because of like I said, Dreamer has just got this way of roping you in, even when you see all the magician's tricks, if you will. So um, yeah, I mean, maybe they're stretching it out to get more out of the rangeness of it all. Like you always want to play into everything that Steve's got going on, which I think it feels like he's got a lot of leeway in terms of his creative and where he's going with this and stuff he's doing. So maybe they're trying to milk it for that sake, and because it's the digital media championship, they feel like it doesn't necessarily, I don't know, require that big of a stage. It would be cool to get it, but maybe they feel like it's too soon and they want to milk it out a little bit more. But I feel like with everything that's been going on with Steve and with Dreamer just being I'm not even just being the real just sappy guy that he is, I feel like you really could do a thing where he kind of keeps lamenting the fact that this guy really is turned into a third level deranged clown, and really kind of falls for it and just allows Steve to kind of dog walk him in a very violent way, take the championship, and just kind of go on this tirade. Because in any other situation, Dreamer would turn up, turn into the hardcore legend that we know, and elevate. But he, for some reason, might not be able to do that against Steve. You could tell that story, and then just have Steve take advantage, which he's been doing since he turned. Look what he did to Tarus. So
Thou shalt not fuck with the clowned one.
exactly.
We got a nice little 10-person tag. It was Kylan King, Mahabali? I think one of those right. Brian Myers, Jody Threat, and Bully Ray taking on Eric Young, Jordan Grace, Champagne Singh, Fandango. Sorry, that was genuinely slip of the tongue. What's his name? Dirty Dango. And Jake Something. This was a Jake Something highlight match, but we did get to see a lot of Jody Threat, which I liked. And Jordan Grace and Bully Ray started to hint at probably doing something during the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Battle Royal at Bound for Glory. Mahabali and Raj or Champagne Singh had some nice little dets. So very, very interesting little thing, but nothing noteworthy came out of this aside from the fact that they are pushing Jake Something, and I think Jake Something may be in line for big things. We got a Josh Alexander promo. He's no Bret Hart on the mic, but I wouldn't say he's must-see TV on the stick either. He puts over his match at Alex Shelley with Bound for Glory. Then we get Mickey James talking about Trinity, and I think it was a promo package. Then they interview Trin over the match. It was fine. ABC takes on Skylar, who ended up getting Jay Vidal. It was not a great match, but it was funny because it was a fans' revenge match. And none of the fans wanted to hit ABC, which is Ace Austin, Chris Bay. And every time John Skyler was out there, he ate leather. And listen, I'm not a John Skyler or what's Jason Hotch, I think, his tag team partner. I'm not a big fan of them. I think they're very plain and ordinary. I hope Skyler got a bonus. Because that man ate more steak than Bobby Hill in that episode of King of the Hill where he eats that giant-ass porterhouse to piss off his vegetarian ex-girlfriend.
Oh, man. I know his colon was like, what is all of this?
That boy had a heart attack at 12. That boy had gout. He had gout. So yeah, I hope he gets something there. Moose squashed Bhupinder Gujjar. Gujjar was picked to be like the one to watch in 2023. That didn't end up happening. Then we go into Steve Macklin talking about I think it was like with Bully Ray, PCO. I wasn't really paying attention to this because like these guys kind of make me uninterested. We then get promo for Saban and Kenta. I, for one, welcome our new Kenta Overlords. The Kenta Chris Saban match, I think, has the possibility of being the match of the night. I don't think Saban's lost much of a step in his early 40s. And I think Kenta has, but he was so good, him missing a step is still better than 90% of other people. So I think these two, despite the rages, could really go. And Marcus, I think I might be more excited about Kenta versus Saban than I am Alexander Shelley or Ospreay and Speedball. And quite honestly, in terms of quality of matches, this might be the greatest Bound for Glory match for match in terms of quality and in-ring production against anyone I've ever seen.
Yeah, certainly in the last, because we've had some up and downs in the terms of the last stretch of Bound for Glory. I feel like the last couple was real solid. Before that, it was shaky a little bit. But I'm just excited for all this. I mean, the fact that we even got Kenta and Ospreay coming up is huge. It's huge. But yeah, I'm just excited for all of it. I'm still loving the whole guns up thing. With these guys finally getting that shed that spotlight together on the individual level. I think it's great, and I think there's a solid opportunity for both to retain. Mainly because, like I said, I feel like Saban could very well beat, the OG Kenta, and I feel like while it would probably be very logical with everything that's happened with Alexander to put it back on Alexander. I mean, you can't lose either way. But with what they've been doing with Shelley, it makes sense for him to recognize the importance of the scenario, particularly in the fact that the last time they faced off, he lost, not wanting to lose, and kind of pull some skullduggery himself. to get to the match with Ospreay, and win there. The question: do you think they could do that scenario, have Alex retain, and then pull up, what they did with Kenny with Ospreay?
Maybe. I think it's possible that. Now, I don't think they're going to put the belt on Ospreay, if that's what you're asking. I do think maybe a short feud to end the year between Shelley and Ospreay, or Alexander and Ospreay, could certainly happen. Do I think it's going to be for the title? I don't. I don't think they're going to put the belt on Ospreay, not unless Ospreay is serious about sticking around for a little while. Because if you sat down with Ospreay and you're like, hey, if you give me 4 months, I'll put this belt on you, because I could justify Shelley losing to Ospreay because Ospreay's a huge name. And then I can justify putting the belt on Ospreay, especially if Alexander's the one to go over on him. If that's not the situation, I don't want it. I think more than likely what's going to end up happening is Shelley retains, and somebody, maybe Moose, or maybe the winner of the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, interferes and cashes in, so to speak. But I could also see the night just ending predictably, normally. Winner holds the belt, we go to black, cue credits, see you on Thursday. So there are some possibilities. Plus, it's in Chicago. There's a lot of talk about CM Punk returning to the WWE, but is he? We don't know. Could very easily be a situation where we hear Cult of Personality. Now, I don't think it's likely.
If that
I'm
happens,
just saying it's possible.
I might actually just close my laptop screen and just roll my computer chair back and just sit in the dark like Burns. Or not even witness the devastation. The internet would implode. Like, even the people that have come on board to Impact's newfound respectability and consistency. They just, because it's the internet wrestling fans, man. They don't know how to not, everything's the Titanic hit the iceberg, every situation. And if that happened, it would be specifically with the fact that Edge is seemingly taking that spot. They would lose their minds. And it might be probably the best thing. It might be one of the best things to happen. But to your point, I don't know if that'll happen. I mean, even with the one of his best lines when he originally came to AEW was like, "You can't go and heal in the same place you got sick in the first place." And that's that was fair for where that company was then, but it's not where it was then. It's a completely different stage. The fact that Vince is pretty much on the outs from every perspective, not just from, we need to get this old, bad-looking Billy Goldberg out of here, but yo, man, you hot on the block. We need you out of sight. Like, you are bad for business, literally. So I could very well see that fence being mended, but if that happened, man, talk about game over.
It would definitely be a culture shock, so to speak, for Impact. It would give them a legitimate name that would bring people in, and you could start building up a feud between the winner of Bound for Glory, which if CM Punk, not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But nothing is impossible in this world, mathematically speaking. If CM Punk is coming in, you have Alexander retain, and you build up to Alexander Punk, and maybe you even reform Team Canada as a heel stable to go against Punk. I think that might be the best move forward. But Marcus, we don't know if Punk's coming in. We don't think he is, but we don't know. But we do know two names are coming in. Not for Bound for Glory, however. One will be making his debut, one that I'm sure you're going to be over the moon about. The other's making his return. Now, this is Bound for Glory's 19th year in existence. It has been nearly 19 years since this other person has been in Impact. And I'm looking through their cage match to double check. I don't remember them popping up since before 2004, so I feel like that's fair. But for the first time in Lord knows how long at this point, we're going to be getting Juventud Guerrera back in Impact Wrestling. He'll be teaming up with Laredo Kid and Black Taurus in a 6-man tag against the Rascals, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, and the debuting Myron Reed. Oodalali,
which
oodalali.
which is actually a big deal.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not being facetious. This is a big get. I've been a fan of Myron since I saw him in MLW with Jordan Oliver and I think it's who was it? Kota Brazil, I think is his name. They were I forget what their name was. They were something controversial, and they were great. They were great. Jordan Oliver, not so much, but Myron Reed especially, and he had some good matches with like Leo Rush, Tajiri. I think he faced Tajiri. I know he faced Leo Rush because they had a great middleweight championship match. And Myron really showed off his flex. And I feel like he's the best promo right now out of the Rascals. I don't think he's the best worker. I think Zach is the most dynamic, but Miguel may be the best well-rounded. But Myron has a chance to come in and really be a thing of uniqueness and importance with this company. And seeing Hoovy come back, who has always been like a cult favorite of mine, and like I don't like him, but whenever he shows up, the stories around him get interesting, right? Like he rode the lawnmower in WWE, won the Cruiserweight title. He got fired from WCW for getting drunk off his ass in Australia and going streaking. I still don't think he's allowed back in Australia. And he's been one of the bigger international names since leaving NWA TNA in 2004. Because then he went to WWE and was there until about 2006. And then from there he was with AAA for a while. He's been with... he's been with GCW, XPW, The Crash. He's been with Defy for a little while. So he's really done the rounds. And he's only 48. Like, that's a little perplexing. Like, he and Rey Mysterio are youthfully old. And Hoovy's in great shape. Maybe chemically enhanced shape? Who am I to do it? So I'm excited for this. And it's one of the many, many things that fans can expect from the Bound for Glory Fallout show. Marcus, I know you're jacked for Myron Reed. Thoughts on Myron's debut and Hoovy's return?
love it, love it, love it. It feels like, and I don't know if you ever were a UBO guy, um, but it feels like one of those situations where we could just blanket it and say like you're trading card collector and you got this, you know, this grand set of 4 that you want to get and you get 3 of them. And you want the 4th, even though you don't necessarily need it. Kind of feels like what that is, because I think you retweeted when somebody had mentioned like the importance of like what this means actually, like the true core Rascals, even though Dez is elsewhere. You want them to thrive there, but like just the potential of maybe one day getting all 4 of them there is it's a big deal, and obviously also you could do a thing where. Like the only other 3 tandem or trio I could see them pulling off is if they did like a OVE, if they brought Chris back in.
Mm-hmm.
Doing with Callahan and Swan, I think those 3 could those 6 could tear the house down. That'll actually be something I'd like to see, maybe on their next big show. But yeah, it's a big deal for the Rascals resurgence. I'm loving everything with that. Not them defacing the tag titles now, but at least they're consistent with the character. So, and then Juventud, like I haven't seen Juventud since the whole lawnmower cruiserweight thing. So it's been that long since I've seen this guy. And he's under a mask now, correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, he's back under a mask, the mask that he used to wear prior to losing in WCW.
Gotcha. So
he got
this
the same
is
grandfather clauses, Psychosis, and Rey Mysterio, apparently.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's just gonna be cool to see him to put him with Taurus and Saya Del Sol.
Laredo Kid, I think.
Oh, Laredo Kid, yeah. So yeah, I mean we're gonna get some good old lucha action. That's gonna be great, and like you said, 2 good gets for Bound for Glory. And I was gonna ask you before we got off the CM Punk thing. Because none of those released talent from WWE clauses are going to be up by Bound for Glory, correct? So they couldn't come anyway.
I don't know. That's an interesting question that I didn't do any research on. Maybe, maybe not. Now,
Yeah.
so basically the way it works is, if you have 4 months on your contract and you get fired, you can the 90-day clause kicks in, so you'll be free within 90 days, and you'll be paid for that duration as well. Now, if you only have a month left on your contract, they can't tack on 60 extra days. So I don't know what their contracts were at beforehand, and I don't know if some of them may, because like it is possible, although you don't see a lot of it. It is possible to go to the WWE and be like, listen, buy me out, like buy out my 90 days, let me go wherever from the jump, and sometimes that does happen. Like when Kurt Angle got released, I don't think he had a 90-day clause. I think there was a buyout of some sort to allow him to jump to Impact sooner than later. That's that's speculation on my part. I don't know. But we do see more than often than not guys leaving a situation when we think they have 90 days and they pop up long beforehand. Usually that's because they get permission. Sometimes because their contracts just aren't that long. I don't know. I do know that Mandy Rose, I think, is a free agent. So if someone does pop up, it could be her, and that would be, I think, a huge get, especially with her audience. Then again, I don't know if her OnlyFans audience is as loyal and loving as a wrestling audience. So I don't think they'll show up and watch her in Impact Wrestling just because she's with them in this hypothetical situation. So
Yeah, they might tune in one good time to see like Impact. What kind of impact? Like they think it's a transitionary thing. Like, oh, she really taking it up to another level on OnlyFans. Thankfully, it isn't TNA, or it really will be that might actually benefit those first debut numbers. But yeah, I didn't even think about Mandy Rose. That's an interesting thing because in my mind, I'm thinking she's fully dedicated to the OnlyFans thing. But don't a couple women on the Impact roster got OnlyFans? Yeah, Deanna got OnlyFans. I think I want to say Alexander's wife. Not to disrespect, but I think she has OnlyFans, and we know Grace capitalizes on all her aesthetic.
mm-hmm.
So she, I think she'll get far better leniency with Impact in that regard. That'll be a very interesting. That'll be very interesting to get. But it's funny you talking about the contract. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't kind of Rey Mysterio get yo-yoed years ago because they kept tacking on days for stuff he missed?
Who?
Mysterio, like all them years ago.
Oh
with
yeah,
contract
I think so.
Extended.
They do that a few times. I think AEW has done it too. Just saw something where I think it was Impact. I read did it with Sami Callihan because his deal was supposed to be up far sooner than September, but they tacked on missed time due to his leg injury. So it does happen. And if you get time tacked on, and then you get released, I don't think that tacked on time will matter at all, and I think you'll still end up just having to serve your 90-day vacation, if you will. Now, with that said, Bound for Glory is taking shape. There are going to be surprises, returns. I'm hoping for like a Glacier, Ernest the Cat Miller, Buff Bagwell, out of nowhere WCW pop up in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Battle Royal. I also would love to see someone come back and just dub the Call Your Shot Gauntlet the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Battle Royal for Bound for Glory, because that's a nice callback to the 2006 Bound for Glory where they had the Kevin Nash Open Invitational X Division Gauntlet Battle Royal for Bound for Glory. And I love the stupidity in that. I do. When is Bound for Glory? It is October 22nd, 21st. So we have 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks to go. We have 7 matches. Marcus, do you think we should add an 8th? And if so, is there one that catches your eye that we should be adding on?
Look at this. Oh, now that you mention it, let's see. Got on a potential 8th match. Beyond Sharp Schools, One Shot Gauntlet, Hmm. Because I feel like I'm thinking about names also first, but I feel like they're going in 20 and they're going in the gauntlet. And it's intergender.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Gresham's gonna be in that. Uh, that's actually really I feel like EY's gonna be in that too. Man, I don't know. It'll be cool if because have they ever done a thing where they like debuted like two new people and put them in a match against each other?
Not that, not at Bound for Glory. I'm sure they have. It just probably on like on Impact, because like they did. I want to say, not Sarita. Uh, she was she was Rosita's tag team partner when the hell's her name in WWE?
You talking about not Rosita the Zelina Vega.
Yeah, when Zelina Vega was Rosita in Impact, her tag team partner, I want to say was someone. What was her name? I can't remember.
What a legitimate cousin or something?
No, maybe it was Sarita. Yeah, it was Sarita.
Must be,
Sarah
yeah.
Stock. I want to say Sarita debuted against cheerleader Melissa. Now, granted, Melissa was already a part of wrestling with Impact as Raisha Saeed, but this was the first time both characters debuted, so I think that counts. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, maybe this is just me. I don't know. I want to get more women on the show. But you could have somebody. It'll be cool to see somebody like Victoria come out there, just ironically enough, dressed in her gear, and who comes out to challenge her. But somebody like a Giselle Shaw. Trying to capitalize or coming out to criticize like another legend coming to rain on the parade of the newer generation, which she feels like she leads, and then we get a quick little 1-2, whatever Victoria feels she can do or comfortable enough doing, and we get that beautiful widow's peak, and we get to see in that regard. Maybe that potentially leads to, I don't know, maybe down the line if she sticks with the company a little bit, uh, a potential Hall of Fame thing. I don't know. Who knows?
well, right now we don't have Tommy Dreamer or Crazy Steve in a match. Now they were announced for an Impact match, but I don't know if they're gonna do two in a row. This would have been a lot easier had they not announced the Impact digital media title match for Impact, but who knows? Because we know that the confirmed entrants is Jake Something, Dirty Dango, Champagne Singh, Eric Young, Jordan Grace, Brian Myers, Sarah, Kylie King, Jody Threat, and Billy Ray. Everyone else we don't know. So we'll, we will find out eventually, I guess. Here's the card as it stands right now. We'll talk more about it next week when we have the confirmed Will Ospreay with that scumbag Don Callis. It is not a running joke. Don Callis is a legitimate piece of shit. Ospreay will take on Mike Bailey. Of course, in the main events can be Alex Shelley versus Josh Alexander. Chris Sabin will defend his X Division title against Kenta. That right there is enough to sell me the card. Then we also have Trinity defending her belt against Mickie James. I don't think Mickey's on the level she needs to be for this match, but I think Trinity will get a nice win.
Yeah.
So it'll be helpful. We have your Call Your Salt Gauntlet Battle Royal, which we already talked about. And then the tag team title matches include the Rascals defending against ABC and MK Ultra defending against Deon Prazzo and Tasha Steelz. So far, this is a very solid show. I don't know if it's going to be surprise heavy. I don't know if we're going to get any major to-dos, if you will, but I'm excited for it, and it should be interesting. Speaking of interesting, we found out that Yuya Uemura is not only back in New Japan, he's a member of Five Guys, not the burger place, but the stable. He debuted, or I should say returned to New Japan in one of the more sillier returns I've seen, because they played his music for a while, and like his name was like Heat Storm, Heat Storm Yuya Uemura, and it went on for like a good like 30. Nah, I shouldn't say 30. Maybe like 15, 20 seconds. He didn't come out, and Kevin Kelly's like, Heat Storm, never heard of him. I'm like, poor Kevin Kelly. I don't know who he's replacing because obviously the Five Guys had Five Guys in it before, but then somebody left, and I'm not following New Japan well enough to know who it is who left. I just know that Yuya Uemura is probably the next big thing in the company, and him coming off into Sonata, the current heavyweight champion, world champion of New Japan, is a strong sign that they have big things for him. So that's interesting. Mark, any thoughts on the Yuya Uemura Five Guys stable?
Um, yeah, I'm about as caught up on the whole Five Guys stable as you are. Um, been checked out of New Japan for a while now, but I am happy that Yuya, as we predicted, will be going back to New Japan, and if this propels him into some more success in terms of spotlight visibility and getting him in more action, I'm happy for him. Like I said, would have to get more time to get invested to look up everything going on with the whole Five Guys of it all. But I'm happy for him. It usually means big things when you get guys kind of debuting or re-debuting and they join a faction. It stands to fare a lot of times in New Japan, but it oftentimes means good things for a lot of guys a lot of times.
So to correct myself, it was Yoshinobu Kanemaru who left the stable, and he left to join up with the House of Torture, which is Evil's group within Bullet Club. So, nonsense and nonsense. So here's what happened at the event, being destruction in what was it? Destruction in. I just call it destruction. I thought it was. It's destruction in Kobe and destruction in Ryogoku. I think I said that right. So we already talked about the first night. The second night included a pre-show match between Chaos. It was Yoshihashi, Toru Yano, and Yo and Tiger Mask defeating Ryusuke Taguchi. Sorry, not against. Tiger Mask and Ryusuke Taguchi was with Chaos. They defeated Takeshi Masada, Kazuma Sumi Kengo, Takaharu Kadari, and Juan Masaako. Those must be some of the young lions that are coming up. Just Five Guys with Taichi, Doki, and now Yuya Uemura defeated the House of Torture with Yujihiro Takahashi, Sho, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Tongaloa defeated Chase Owens. Then we had Los Ingobernables de Japón, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, Yotsutsuki. And Ibushi defeated the United Empire's Great Okan, Jeff Cobb, and Hanare with Callum Newman. I don't know who Callum Newman is. Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors and Drill Maloney. Alright. Defeated Jet Setters, which is Kevin Knight and Kushida. So this was a heavy Impact show because Yuya was an Impact. Kevin Knight and Kushida have been in Impact. Then, of course, we're going to get to the six-man tag here in a second. Master Wato, Shota Umino, and Yuji Nagata, the great Yuji Nagata, defeated Strong Style, Minoru Suzuki, El Desperado, and Ren Reed. I should watch this show. This is a pretty loud show. Guerrillas of Destinies, Hikuleo, and Phantasma defeated the Bullet Club War Dogs, Gabe Kidd, and Alex Coughlin to win the Open Tag Team titles. Then we had Chaos. This is the six-man never openweight tag match that prompted us to talk about it. It was Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Tomohiro Ishii defeating the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, and Chris Sabin, along with Josh Alexander. I misspoke. Tanahashi's not in Chaos. He's with Chaos. There's a subtle difference here. I hope this match is good. I'm very excited for this match. I've been jacked for this match for a long time, and I want to say this is, Josh Alexander's first New Japan match? Josh Alexander. Let's see. We'll look that up here in a second. Then we had a big title change. Tama Tonga defeated David Finlay to win the Never Openweight Championship. So Bullet Club had a rough day because the War Dogs lost to Girls of Destiny. Interesting with Hikuleo going over for the Strong Openweight Tag Team titles, but they're not the official IWGP Tag Team titles. So yeah, it's a good building block. Hiromu Takahashi defeated Yo and Mike Bailey in a triple threat for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Of course, Mike Bailey is, of course, part of Impact. And then the main event, Sonata defeated Evil in a lumberjack match to retain the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. The lumberjacks were made of just 5 guys and House of Torture members. I think this card sounds really good, especially with the Impact influence. Now, I don't know for sure if these matches are worth going on your way to see. We'll find out, but I am excited for the possibility of it. That's for sure. As far as Josh Alexander wrestling for New Japan, this is not the first time he's been there, but I have a sneaking suspicion this is a first for something. Let me check. This is the first time Josh Alexander has wrestled a New Japan match in Japan. Because technically all his other matches happened in the United States. He wrestled in New Japan Battle in the Valley 2021 in San Jose. He was at the Ocean View Pavilion in Portune, California for New Japan Strong. He did 3 more New Japan Strongs in 2021, or 3 total. He did 2 matches in 2022 for New Japan, 1 in Illinois, the Odeum Expo Center, and 1 at St. Petersburg Coliseum for New Japan Strong. And then, of course, this year he was in Battle of the Valley 2023 over in San Jose. He was part of the Multiverse United 2 for whom the belt tolls match in Philadelphia, and this is his first Japanese match at New Japan Destruction in Ryobuko. So, not a first time for Josh, but a pretty big first for Josh nonetheless. Now, I don't know for sure if he's ever wrestled in Japan before. I want to say he has for Noah, but he may not have. I'm going to have to do some extensive research. I don't want to misspeak, but I don't know if he's ever wrestled in Japan before this. Could you Google it? We could find out. Margaret, are you going to check out this show?
Yeah, I try to check out some highlights if I can. Particularly, like I said, that 6-man, and definitely want to maybe see my boy Tom get that win, and obviously we want to check out the juniors. So, like you said, Sally called all around, but primarily with the stuff I'm familiar with. So, yeah, and nice to see the Impact influence in that relationship still being good. That's been a very healthy relationship for Impact. To me, far more beneficial than what they did with AEW. So,
Their trio was rounded out with the former and longest reigning Impact World Champion Josh Alexander, who very surprisingly makes his Japan debut in this match. However, he's no stranger to tag team action. He's by James Carlin of Monthly Perusu. So, there you go. Happy debut to Josh Alexander. Speaking of debuts, you're going to see a lot of them between New Japan, MLW, and CMLL. According to Fightful.com, their strategic alliance is set to go forward. So CMLL Informa broke the news that the 3 groups would all be partnering up starting in October this month. MLW has adjusted its roster to align to... It says alight with CMLL? I think they meant align. Which means that they will not use any AAA talent. This is why Sam Adonis, the brother of Corey Graves, finished up with MLW in recent months. Those that we've spoken to say there will be a steady flow of talent between the 3 groups. MLW is looking for a big refresh of Lucha talent in 2024, including a lot of CMLL talent heading over. With New Japan crossover, we'll get bigger as they get into the new year. And this is part of the reason why Selena De Laurento was brought back. Apparently, she will be a central figure in the storylines that involve MLW and CMLL. Margus, I don't know who's with CMLL anymore, but does any of that kind of make you want to check it out?
Yeah, I mean, putting that a little bit of refresh. Like, I don't know what all they did with the. I mean, obviously you know more than me because you watched it more consistently. But I don't know what all they, how broad they went with the remnants of Lucha Underground, what they was doing. But looks like that infusion of new talent to kind of revitalize or switch up a lot of the flavor with the roster. I think would be really good. And MLW, showed obviously they showcase a variety of styles. So I think that could be something very good going forward. And just looking at that banger of a match that's being set between Murder Grandpa and
Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I was trying to give some type of so Samoan Destroyer title. Couldn't think of it, but yeah, Fatu.
He's known as the Samoan Werewolf.
Ah, okay, all right, that works. Yeah, so that is on call a banger. So yeah, I mean, you got to keep things fresh and switch things up sometimes.
Currently, CMLL features the Gran Guerrero as the world champion. He used to be known as Tarus. Probably not Black Tarus, just Tarus. He's only 30 years old, give or take, so he's a young up-and-comer. Teton is their welterweight champion. We all know about Teton. And then that's about it for names that I recognize. So they might be not restarting, but they might be refreshing their roster with new names. Let's see who's on top of AAA right now. El Hijo del Vikingo is on top of AAA. QT Marshall's their Latin champion, so they're not doing too well. Commandeer is the Cruiserweight champion. Eris and Commandeer are the tag team champion. Eris is the Leonada Azul Blue Demon championship. Abiz Negro and Flammer are the World Mixed Tag Team Champions. I don't know who Flammer is. Lady Flammer. And the Los Vapors, Abismo Negro Jr. and Psychosis and Toxin are the World Trios Champions, while Flammer is the Reinas de Reinas champion. I don't care if it's Lady Flammer. I don't care if it's Flammer. I'm calling her Flammer like Flubber. And there ain't a damn thing anyone can do about it. Flammer. So, realistically, I think what this calls into question and states emphatically is I'm not keeping up with Lucha Libre. I think that's mostly what that means. All the names that I recognize either wrestled Impact or AEW over the last couple of years, so not great. Not bad, but not great. Speaking of not bad but not great, Exodus Pro Wrestling in Cleveland, Ohio, which I've never heard of until I saw this news story, is now officially NWA Exodus Pro, and is now an official NWA territory. NWA released a video on social media where NWA owner Billy Corgan and the NWA World Heavyweight Champion EC3 stood inside an Exodus Pro wrestling ring, announced that the promotion would be known from here on out as NWA Exodus Pro. Corgan also announced that the Exodus Pro Heavyweight Championship will now be recognized by the National Wrestling Alliance. The Exodus Pro Wrestling is based in Cleveland, Ohio. This comes off the heels of the fact that they're going to be doing NWA Sam Hain, or however it was that James Mitchell pronounced it in that promo, because it was none of those. But they'll be doing some stuff coming on for the group. I would take it. Now, I'm planning on going to Sam. I haven't bought the tickets yet. I should probably buy the tickets tonight, probably. But this is not a shocking thing for them to announce a Cleveland territory on the weeks before their big October Halloween show. So I expect more of these to pop up, and I don't think they're a bad idea. I just think that you need to be very careful with them, because that was part of the issue with the NWA last time. They weren't centralized ever, and the territories had way too much individual power, which is part of the reason why Adam Pearce and Colt Cabana had the 7 Stages of Hell, because it was based out of the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which was the NWA Hollywood promotion. But the folks at the NWA proper didn't like the way that was going to end, so they basically stripped, I think it was Colt Cabana, the title. So, it's not a great thing, but it sets up touring possibilities for the wrestlers, because now you have guys who can go down to Cleveland for a weekend. If you set some up in the Carolinas, you can send guys down to the Carolinas for the weekend, and you can do 4 or 5 shows. With these towns promoting the NWA brand, and I think it's a great way to boost notoriety, eyes on your product, money in the pockets of your wrestlers. I think it's a solid idea. I just don't know what the execution is, because I don't think Billy Corgan has a clue what he's doing. Now, here's the card so far for Sam Hain. It's EC3 versus Thom Latimer with Camille. So she's still around, even though she's no longer the Women's World Champion. Kenzie Page taking on Ruthie J for the NWA Women's Championship. The NWA World Junior Heavyweight title will be online when Joe Alonzo challenges Colby Carino. Colby Carino is one of their young up-and-comers, of course. Pretty empowered, Ella Envy and Kylie Page will defend against Natalia Markova and Taylor Rising in a NWA World Women's Tag Team Championship match. And in a Knights of the Round Tables match for the NWA World Tag Team Championship, Blunt Force Trauma, Carnage and Damage, which is Marche Rocket as Carnage and Rodney Mack as Damage, will take on Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch. So that's Sam Hain. We'll see how it comes together. Maybe I'll recommend people in Cleveland go. I don't know. We'll find out. Now, you mentioned before we're getting a MLW Slaughterhouse match. It's going to be Minoru Suzuki taking on Jacob Fatu. This is one of the bigger matches that MLW has put on that I think fans need to tune in for. It's going to be filmed on October 14th. Now, they do TV tapings and a live show when they do their thing, so I don't know if this is going to be at Slaughterhouse, the event, which will air on Fight TV, or if this is going to air on their weekly television program. But either way, I think you need to hunt this down. And it's not even the only big match coming into MLW, because MLW is bringing back Spin the Wheel, Make a Deal. I think it's I think it involves Jacob the one called Manders. Let's see. Spin the Wheel. Let's find out. So, Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal has been signed for MLW Slaughterhouse in Philadelphia, and it will feature Ricky Shane Page taking on one called Manders. And some of the matches that we see in the wheel, it may be all the options, it may not be, are a bull rope match, a spike match, an I Quit match, a Star of Death. That sounds interesting. A barbed wire match, a false count anywhere match, a Prince of Darkness match, and a coal miner's glove match. Now, Prince of Darkness match is a blindfold match. Of course, the coal miner's glove match is the infamous match that Jake Roberts and Sting engaged in, what was it, 1990 at Halloween Havoc, or 1991? It was 91. That sounds about right. Marcus, MLW has a nice kind of flavor of hardcore, shoot fighting, and classic WWF all rolled into one. Is this finally the event that may get you into it, or are you not as excited about Spin the Wheel, Make a Deal as I am?
No, I'm definitely gonna try to check out Suzuki and Fatu and Spin the Wheel, Make. I mean, you don't really get more self-explanatory than that. So I'm definitely gonna look into catching that, seeing what they do with that. I mean, look, for a lot of these companies, these end of the year shows be, really big. I don't know if this is one of their last, or because I don't know if MLW run these monthly, these big shows.
No, it's more like every other month at this point, maybe every third month, depending on how things are going.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna check that. When is that?
This will air on Saturday, October 14th. I'm not sure what part will be on the live broadcast and which part will be taped for later. But if you just find a way to tune in, be it, I think it's on Fight Plus or something like that, you might be able to find out for yourself if like what's going to be. I think the Spin the Wheel deal, I think the Slaughterhouse match, I can probably just Google this. I have the ability to Google things, search them on the old interwebs. So far for MLW Slaughterhouse 2023, this is what we have here. Let's see. Okay, so we have 4 matches set for Fusion. It's going to be Love and Doug taking on Ichiban. I think it's just Love Doug taking on Ichiban. Matt Cardona will take on someone yet to be named. TR James will take on the notorious Mimi. Tracy Hotshot Williams will take on the debuting Griffin McCoy. By the by, if you're checking out MLW this week, it's a miss. You can skip it. It's not a great episode this week. They spent a lot of time highlighting an old school match from their first rebooted show. I want to say it featured Swerve versus Ricochet, because that was like one of their first shows back in 2017, 2018, before either signed with either promotion. It's a fine match, but I didn't tune in this week to watch a 30-minute segment to a wrestling match that happened 6 odd years ago.
Yeah.
That's not me. As far as Slaughterhouse goes, this is what we have so far. I think it's going to be a 5-card match, or 5-match card. There we go. Delmi Exo will take on the MLW, will defend her World Women's Championship against the Phantom Challenger, whoever that may be. In a Chambers of Horrors match, this is the WCW match where Abdul the Butcher got electrocuted, allegedly. They're bringing that back, although I don't think it's going to be like a huge ass cage like we saw there. It's going to be a second Gear Crew. Mance Warner of he's a GCW fame, and Matthew Justice will take on the Callings Cannonball and Talon. The Calling is Raven's new stable. Ricky Shane Page will, of course, defend his title against the one called Manders in a spin the wheel, make a deal match for the MLW National Openweight Champion. Chip Akira will take on Rocky Romero in a winner-takes-all MLW World Middleweight Championship and NWA World Historic Welterweight Championship. The NWA World Historic Welterweight Championship is actually an NWA title, but it's defended in CMLL. So this is part of the crossover because Rocky Romero, even though he's representing NWA, is actually representing CMLL. Then, of course, we're going to have Minoru Suzuki taking on Jacob Fatu. And in the main event, Alex Kane, one of the best young wrestlers going today, will defend his title against Davey Boy Smith, who is representing, the Titan Wrestling Federation or something like that, which is, again, another callback to old school WWF. Davey Boy is part of that little stable / group. I think this is a deceptively good card. And I think if you give it a shot, you may really enjoy it. That's just my kind of opinion on this. And I think if you haven't seen it, Alex Kane, even though he's only been wrestling for about 5 years, give or take, I think he's really become someone to watch. And he's definitely one of the better young shoot fighters, or shoot workers, if you will, in the game. Like, he's got a real good wrestling style, very mat-based, suplex heavy. He's rocking a mohawk, which I'm always a fan of. So I would definitely check this dude out. So, and I think the Notorious Mimi was in NXT for a little bit. At the very least, she had a cup of coffee. So, Marcus, any final thoughts?
No, man, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna put a reminder and so I can check it out, because that's obviously just gonna be like right after that we're gonna be going into Bound for Glory, so that'll be 2 solid shows to check out, and not to mention everything else that we always kind of overview, even if we don't directly cover here. So it's gonna be a busy month, you know.
I didn't realize that October was a big month for wrestling, but yet here we are.
Yeah, man.
So, all right, that should do it for the show. I haven't seen anything on the horizon. I will say this: on the mainstream side of things, Bronson Reed will take on Gunther, and I'm worried that this will be when Gunther loses the belt. And it's not that I have a problem with him dropping it to Bronson Reed. I actually want Bronson Reed to be the one to unseat Gunther, because that would put him over. But they haven't done anything with him since before now. At least anything worth talking about. And if you're not making headlines, then you're not making anything. At least in the world of pro wrestling. So I'm hoping this doesn't go badly for Gunther or for Bronson Reed, because Bronson Reed needs this win. But Bronson Reed also needs to have the proper build-up to make the title change significant. Because I'm sorry, after 40-odd years, 30-odd years, the whole, well, just don't be negative, just wait to see how it plays out. No, it never plays out well. If you do not build a good foundation on a house, I don't need to see how it's going to turn out. The house is going to fall on itself. If you don't build up a wrestler appropriately, he's not going to get over. Like, I don't need to wait to see how it turns out, because it never turns out well. Because if you don't have the ability to put somebody over heading into a feud, you don't have the ability to put somebody over coming out of a feud. That's simple.
Yeah, and you don't get to just pull the trigger like that over everything that you build with Gunther, just because, essentially, Bronson Reed is a walking gadget. And the size thing really shouldn't matter, because that's been something Gunther's been dealing with, too. Maybe not necessarily specifically Bronson Reed's particular build, but he's got different weapons and arsenals to take out somebody like Bronson Reed. And if you see something that big coming out the top rope, personally, I'd move. That's just me. Uh, but yeah, like you said, they really haven't done as much with him as they should have. He should have been destroying things, absolutely, like blazing a path, you know, uh, a pure destruction leading up to Gunther, and he kind of just popped back up on screen, and it's cool to see and whatnot. But I was thinking about it even before the show. I was like, the way that they set it up, even with as much criticism as you in particular give the narrative of the concept, they built Gunther in such a way now where the only way it would be believable that he dropped that towel is if somebody like would cash in on him. He was vulnerable because that's how good he's been built up. But yeah, like I said, we'll see how it goes. Maybe something to happen where he tries to get potential help from his boys and they block that up. But they usually keep his matches pretty interference less. So like you said, see how it goes. Obviously, it'll be big for Bronson Reed. But it's like, to your point, if you didn't really build him up coming into it, what are you gonna do? How much justice are you gonna do if he gets it? So.
And that's the question. That's generally the question. If you can't build him up appropriately heading in, he'll never be built up properly coming out. So you want to make sure this title reign by Gunther pays off. And Bronson Reed just hasn't been given anything to do. Now, I don't know what his win-loss record is. I don't know if he's been wrestling on like secondary shows or if he's been appearing on Raw at all. But I do know he hasn't been making headlines. And if you're not making headlines, then like, are you really someone to pay attention to? And I think that's kind of the point here is do a better job building up Bronson Reed so when he does take the belt off, if he takes the belt off of Gunther, it's not only earned, but it raises Bronson's value substantially. Or have Bronson win it in a way that even catapults Gunther further by either having Seth Rollins interfere and cost Gunther the belt or have Roman Reigns interfere and cost Gunther the belt. Because let's be honest, after seeing Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso or Jimmy Uso, whichever Uso, win the tag team titles on Saturday, neither guy is unseating Roman. Neither guy should. It should be Gunther. He's such a big deal right now. It should be Gunther, but they'll probably just shoehorn Austin Theory in there and ruin it all. But that's why I don't talk about it anymore, because it's stupid. They are bad bookers.
A-Town Trout.
A-Town Trout. Deuces up. A-Town Trout. So anyway, yeah, if CM Punk shows up, though, call me. Call me when CM Punk ends. Or when September ends, I should say. That being said, that's it for the show. We're done for the night. Got work to do. Got food to eat. Real Nerd Corp's website, realnerdcrp.com. You can find us there. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/Wrestling Underground or The Wrestling Underground. I forget. We're on Twitter at Wrestling Underground, or Axon Wrestling Underground. That's WRE. Nope, we're on Nerdcorp, sorry. We're on Twitter at Nerdcorp. NERDCRP, the website is realnerdcorp.com, REALNERDCRP.com. We're also on our personals. Marcus, you can be found on yours at Paradox Kid, PARADOXKID.
Yes, me.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, on Twitter at True Penny Show, TRUEPENNYSHOW. Find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, CHEDNERDCORP, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo at CHEDSPHOTOHUT. That's it for us. We'll be back next Monday for another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. From Marcus String, I'm Chad Porter. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. Remember, as always, watch more wrestling. And Marcus, take it up.
Good night, me.